Hello, all, and welcome to the Movie Bears podcast. I'm Brad Harrison. Each week, I'm joined by hunky, hairy, huggable homos who love film to discuss movies and sometimes dish a little bit of movie news. This week, I'm joined by my wonderful co-hosts who totally had my back last week while I was down for the count with the cold or the flu or whatever the hell it was. Jim Pugliafico is here. Welcome, Jim.
Thanks, and welcome to the podcast, everyone, and especially welcome back, babe, from your whatever it was, I guess head cold.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank God for Advil cold and sinus and NyQuil, right?
Oh my gosh, I was riding the NyQuil train for like a week.
Yeah.
My goodness, it was crazy. Will Lindis is here with us as well. Welcome, Will.
Hey, welcome back, movie fans. Welcome back, Jim and Brad. Especially welcome back to you. We're really glad to have you back this week.
Thank you, thank you. I got to say, guys, I was watching live while you guys were doing your thing, and I was so, destroyed in my heart. But then I played some Witcher 3, and I was okay. But I was like, oh, man, I wish I was there. I wish I was doing it. And I started playing Witcher for all of 10 minutes, and I woke up and I'd ridden my horse off a cliff. I'd fallen asleep while playing. Yeah. It's crazy.
Did you do, because there's something when I'm sick that I've got to do, and it's a holdover from being a kid. First of all, did you get to take any days off of work to recover?
No, I worked every day I was sick. Well, because I just started this new training job, and
yeah.
So
I don't know. There's something about that first day of being sick where it's you know that you can't function, and you just take a day off of work, school, whatever it is. You watch Price is Right, you play a couple of hours of a video game, you eat your chicken noodle soup, and you just don't leave the couch or the bed all day, and you recover. There's something magical about that, and so yeah, I totally get it. But I was kind of wishing that experience upon you.
Well, thank you. I did not have that experience, but I've had it in the past, and I agree.
So, did you, while you were watching, did you have a chance to critique and take notes? To know, I mean, what's it like? I've very seldom have I gone back and watched. I mean, I listen to a lot of our stuff because I edit the show, and so I have to listen to almost, I have to listen to a lot of it. But I don't know. And so you used to do the editing, so you used to listen. I don't know if you go back and listen anymore. But as you were kind of removed yourself from the picture, did you get a different perspective at all?
It's always interesting. I think I've only been off the show twice at this point. I think the last time was because I injured my neck at the gym or something, I forget, and I couldn't move my head. So at that time I wasn't really watching live. So this was kind of my first time watching the show live and not being a part of it, and it was a little surreal. I gotta say, it was I went to say something, and I'm like, wait a second, there's not a microphone in front of my face. So I'm
that's a good point, guys, but oh damn.
Yeah, yeah, and then I made a live comment, and you guys didn't see it at all, and I'm like, oh great, you go off the show 1 week, and they're ignoring me. Awesome. I know how.
I don't even know. Hey, listen, you can blame that on me as the host. I mean, you can make all the live comments you want. I am not as good as multitasking all of the. All of the social media inputs and stuff that we have. So I'm just lucky that I got the show fucking, down and out there.
I think
got
you
my
guys,
points in.
I think you guys did a phenomenal job. My only critique would have probably been, I wish I'd been there with you, because it's always the energy is always a little different when it's just two people. You know what I mean? It was really good. But I think when it's all three of us, you know what I mean? There's just a synergy there.
There's a magic that happens. Whenever one of us is out of the picture, it's not quite the same. We're able to soldier forward and do our thing, and I think we've got our thing down well enough that I think we can work with whatever we've got. But this is where the magic does happen.
Totally. But guys, my heart is full of love for you guys for soldiering on. Jim's rolling his eyes and saying, "Oh my God," when I say that. But it's true. Thank you for soldiering on.
It's true, babe. You were never very far. You were always right here. Right here.
Were we right heart to heart?
Oh yeah, you were right here. Okay.
I need to watch the Skeleton Twins again.
I'm gonna get a cavity from all this.
Oh, I know. Hey, speaking of sweetness, wanted to give a quick shout out to longtime listener and friend Mick Jones. It is his birthday today, guys. Happy birthday, Mick! Happy birthday, Mick!
Happy birthday!
I think Jim may actually get to hang out with Mick while you're traveling this week for work.
This week,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you'll have to give him a great big Movie Bears podcast birthday hug for us, Jim.
I will do that if I end up seeing him, which is very, very likely. Then I will do that. I'm lucky enough to be going on a business trip for a couple of days for a seminar this week.
Woohoo!
So much fun, right?
Yay!
To pull out the fun. So happy birthday, Mick. Happy birthday. Guys, we have a fun show tonight. We are going to be reviewing the new Pierce Brosnan / Owen Wilson flick, No Escape. If it sounds like a buddy comedy, well, I guess it kind of is in some weird twist.
Maybe in spots.
A buddy comedy with terrorists? I don't know. But that'll be interesting. We'll get to that. We're also going to be talking about our most anticipated films of 2015 still to come. So we've got a lot of good stuff still coming down the pipeline that we are going to chat about. So, guys, what say we dive right in? Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Do it?
I've been anticipating this episode.
Oh, that's so funny.
No, that's bad. That's awful.
How do you do that?
That was terrible off the cuff. That is bad. Like, don't edit that out either. Just let the listeners like groan and eye roll later on.
Is it bad on a lot of levels?
It's bad on just the one level. It's just like, Will did a shitty segue there. Like everyone should be fully aware of that. You guys, the listeners, I own that. Nice.
All right, Will.
Nice.
Totally.
Nice.
Totally own that, Will.
Holy
What is
shit.
that?
What?
For the listeners, Brad's got this like video up. Instead of himself, there's like a cow looking at us with like Fabio hair blowing in the wind. It's pretty majestic. Like
It's very creepy too.
I love seeing Brad on my screen. Brad's an awesome guy, but I also kind of love this cow. Like, I think you should alternate back and forth between these two things. Like,
make sure you screenshot that for the when we post the episode page.
Yeah, right. That'd be perfect.
Guys,
actually.
that is Beyonce cow. That is Beyonce cow. Okay.
Beyonce?
That's Beyonce cow.
That is Beyonce cow. Get with the program. Anyway,
I'm with the program. I'm there.
Couldn't resist. I got this new cool program, guys, called Eyeglasses. I don't know if you've heard of it. You can do all kinds of stuff, like selectively zoom in on parts of the camera. You can do cool, like, different effects and stuff. Check that out. You can do all kinds of cool stuff.
Man, I'm so jealous right now.
Do you have a little, like, program, Woody?
Kinda. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's hope there's not any animated GIFs of that about
Watch out, what might come across Brad's screen.
Oh my god, is this a Google Hangout or a fucking Tumblr?
Oh gosh. Oh, Movie Bears podcast is live on Mobley. Anyway.
Yeah, this is awful.
So guys, let's do it. Let's dig right into our most anticipated of 2015. I'm going to kick things off. I wasn't here last week. I didn't get to talk at all last week, so I'm just going to do it. The first movie I want to talk about, I'm actually changing up the order I put in the agenda, Will.
What? Oh my god, chaos.
Stop the show. Stop the show. Cut.
Calling an audible. So, guys, the movie that I want to talk about first is going to be released on November 6th. That is its wide release date, and that is going to be the new James Bond film, Spectre. I've had kind of a weird love-hate relationship with the Bond movies until, I pretty much loved Connery, and then from there it went off the rails for me, by and large. Not like I was watching them in real time, mind you. I wasn't alive back in the 60s, but as I made my way slowly through them, Pierce Brosnan, who's actually in the movie we're going to talk about tonight, No Escape, of course was a Bond, and I liked him his first outing in GoldenEye. After that, I was just kind of like, ugh, I'm done with Bond. And then Daniel Craig came along, and I'm like, dude, this guy, not going to happen. He's not going to be a good Bond at all. Holy shit, he is my Bond. He is totally my Bond after Sean Connery. I think he does a phenomenal job as Bond. I think his days are probably numbered as Bond. I don't know if this is his last film or if he's contracted for more. I have no idea. Unlike some, I try not to read too much about like casting and contracts, and because I feel like it saps away, you know what I mean, some of my enjoyment. But I'm really glad to see him back for this film. We've also got Christoph Waltz, who is playing one of the main villains in the film. Really happy to see Ralph Fiennes back. Of course, he was in Skyfall. If you haven't seen Skyfall yet, great film. I won't spoil the plot on that one for you. Some other folks, we've got Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista? Am I a minion now? Bautista, banana. Dude, I have a little vampire minion now. Little vampire minions. Aren't they adorable? So
Minions are taking over.
I know. Anyway.
So Bautista was Drax, right?
Yes, he was Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was fun in that movie. But he's looking pretty woofy, guys. I gotta say, he's all bearded in the new Spectre trailer. He's like shooting people, and I'm like getting turned on. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here, Dave Bautista? So I know it's a little bit weird. Really happy to see Andrew Scott. If we have any Sherlock fans, he plays Moriarty in the new BBC Sherlock series.
Yes.
So yeah, great cast in this movie. I'm interested to see where the plot goes. It sounds like Bond is maybe on his way out plot-wise. Is Bond finished? We don't know. Involved in some kind of crazy scandal, but I don't know. It's funny. I keep thinking, oh my gosh, November is like forever away. This Bond movie isn't going to be out like forever, and now all of a sudden, tomorrow's September freaking the 1st. Can you believe that?
I know. It's crazy. Once you hit this time of year, it's like, oh my God, the end of the year all automatically kind of becomes in focus a little bit, and you're like, oh my God, where did this year go?
Right.
It seems like just yesterday we were up in Austin with you, Will, hanging out for South by. I know you're going to be doing Fantastic Fest, but like I can't believe how fast this summer's gone by.
Oh my God, yeah, I have 6 months between South by and Fantastic Fest. They're like they're exactly 6 months apart, so they split up the year very well. And yeah, it does feel like I just got out of a film festival, and right now I'm getting ready to go into a new one.
Right.
It's freaking weird.
I know, which means Christmas is right around the corner. Imagine that.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Fucking college football season starting Thursday for us.
No.
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I know. Nice try. Nice try, Will. You got some butch points for like a split second, but
Cool.
Will's like,
hey,
I hope you hit some home runs for me.
I could believably pass as someone who's into sports ball.
Just put a beer in your hand and wear a jersey. You could totally believe.
Yeah, you do. Oh my God. Yeah.
Go our team. Beat their teams.
That's all you need to know.
Got this shit on lock.
I know. But anyway, we're in the weeds. Let's pull it back. So Spectre, I'm excited for this film. What about you guys?
Well, yeah, I'm excited for it because I really did dig Skyfall. So this is one of the films that I'm looking forward to seeing, even though it seems like this year we've had such a surplus of spy movies. It's been kind of crazy. We didn't even see, well, at least I didn't see Man from U.N.C.L.E. Will, I don't know if you saw it,
No.
but it's just, we've had a ton of them, right? Of course we had the comedy movie Spy. We had the Mission Impossible movie. It's kind of crazy. I'm a little bit spy movied out, although I have to make room for James Bond. I assume they're going to do a good job with this movie. I just noticed that Ben Whishaw plays Q. That's the techie guy, right?
It is indeed.
He was the voice of Paddington.
Yes, he was.
In the Paddington movie. Yeah.
Yes, he was.
So Paddington's in this movie. So now I'm even more excited.
Yeah, I'm moderately excited. In a similar boat as Jim. I'm a little spied out. I feel like this has been a year for a lot of spy films. A lot of pretty decent ones, to be fair. I think we've had mostly positive reviews of the ones that we've seen. The thing is that even if I'm feeling a little spied out, most of the films that we've watched this year have subverted the James Bond theme And so it'll actually be, I think, kind of refreshing in some ways to see something that plays a little closer to vets, a little closer to formula, since we've seen all of these things like, what if James Bond was a young British punk, or what if James Bond was a comedy, or what if James Bond was Tom Cruise? Maybe not as much, but still, yeah, it's when you watch a field that's nothing but subversion, it's sometimes nice just to kind of see the baseline.
Very true. Very true. Well, Spectre comes out on November 6th. Check it out. Should be good, hopefully. Jim, what's your first pick here?
So, yeah, there's a lot of movies that I'm looking forward to the end of at the end of this year. Maybe even more than I was looking forward to some of the, the kind of the crop of summer movies that we had. I don't know how you guys feel about what we saw over the summer. I mean, there were some good ones, but overall, just not a hugely great summer. So I think hopefully the end of the year might save it for me. But there are a couple that I really that stand out from the group of movies that I'm expecting to see. One of them is called The Walk. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for this, but this is a movie that's based on the true story of a French high wire artist named Philippe Petit, and his historic true story when he walked on a wire that he strung between the corners of the two towers of the World Trade Center while they were. This was actually while I think it was shortly after they were constructed, and maybe not even quite completed in 1974. So veteran director Robert Zemeckis, he did Contact, Castaway, Forrest Gump, Back to the Future. So this guy's had some huge movies under his belt. And he's going to do this movie starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Philippe Petit. If you guys have seen the trailers, two things stood out for me. One, it's going to be visually crazy, right? Because this movie's about this guy who sets up and does this high wire walk between the two World Trade Centers. And the trailer really focuses on the visual vertigo, I guess, of standing at the top of a giant skyscraper looking down across New York City. And for anybody who had a little bit of vertigo, that trailer was probably enough to make them like grab the two armrests of their seat and like, whoa. And it wasn't even trying to be like super over the top, like throwing you over the edge of the building, but it's getting a full IMAX release, which should be the movie should be amazing in IMAX. But the real reason I want to see this is because one of my favorite documentaries of all time is one called Man on Wire, which was the actual story of the actual guy Philippe Petit. Just an amazing documentary. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend seeing it before you go see this movie. I just hope they capture that this movie, The Walk, which is going to be kind of more of a narrative construct than a documentary. I hope they capture the essence of the story and kind of the nuances of this character, because he was kind of a crazy character. Gordon-Levitt's French accent in the trailer kind of throws me off a little bit. It seemed a little bit weird, and I haven't heard any real buzz about this movie, which is kind of strange. But like I said, the reason I want to see it is because of my love for that documentary and for the story behind it. It could be a huge setup for disappointment for me. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know. You guys maybe have seen the trailer. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I've definitely seen the trailer. I'm looking forward to this film as well. I thought Man on Wire was a phenomenal documentary. And I remember when I was seeing the documentary, I'm like, okay, this is cool, but like, this might be a little cooler if it was like narrative fiction. I wasn't quite sure who they were going to get to play him. I don't know about Gordon-Levitt. He's got some like bad Looper makeup going on, guys. I don't know if you've noticed that in the trailer.
Yeah. I
feel like I'm watching Looper all over again. But instead of Bruce Willis this time, he looks like Maria von Trapp or something. I don't know, but I'm anxious to see this film. I'm a little worried about seeing this film in 3D because I have a terrible fear of heights. And I will tell you, seeing that trailer in 3D made me want to throw up in my bucket of popcorn.
Mhm.
So I don't know, but yeah, I want to see this movie. Will's making faces. Don't go see it with me, Will. Or
Yeah,
if
I
you
know.
do, let's not share popcorn.
Of course not. No, 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 no. That would be absolutely awful. That would at least take the movie down a full like half or
And
full
ruin the
star.
popcorn too.
It won't ruin the popcorn, yeah, all of that. It's just a disaster all across the board. No, I've seen the trailer. I'm excited for this one. I think you're kind of right, Jim, where like this might be one of those ones where we're excited about it and then we walk away with a bad taste in our mouth. I'm still excited based on the source
Mhm.
material, and I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think he's a very talented dude who has really shown himself to be a powerhouse in the industry. That said, his accent is very jarring in the trailer. I don't know if it's going to be one of those ones where you walk into it and that accent looms over everything. We've seen movies where that happens, or if it's one of those things where it's so quirky and it's so weird that it just becomes a part of the character, and we enjoy it by the time the movie's over. That part, the jury's still out on. The other thing I'm a little hesitant about with this movie is the marketing has very much been, this is a 3D experience. It's all about the 3D. Put on your 3D glasses and experience the 3D. And I feel like that type of marketing,
It's
it
gimmicky.
feels more like, well, it's very gimmicky. It feels like, one of those like proof of concept IMAX experiences more so than a film, at least from the way they're marketing it. And I think that the story is interesting. The actor is interesting, and Zemeckis can do interesting things. So yeah, I just hope that the film itself isn't as mired in the gimmick.
Yeah, it's got a lot to live up to. I mean, like I said, the documentary was great. Brad, you said you like the documentary. I actually like the fact the documentary is I've seen it a couple times, but the documentary played almost like a narrative. There was a very heist type of feel to it, almost like it played out like a robbery kind of movie, which I loved about the documentary. It wasn't just a dry talking heads. I mean, it had some of that, but it also had something different, which is a mark that I look for in documentaries that really stand out to me. Sometimes, in documentaries, the subject matter is very interesting, and that can be very compelling and make for a good movie. But if they do something different with the structure and the way they tell the story, that's kind of what sets it apart for me. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of room for this movie, I think, to really screw up. I hope they at least get it right. A lot's going to fall on Joseph Gordon-Levitt and that character and how believable he is as Philippe Petit, especially after I've seen the real Philippe Petit, in his own documentary. So, yeah, it's risky, but so is a walk between the two World Trade Center towers.
That's true. That's true.
And this movie, by the way, comes out. I think it comes out limited at the end of this month, but wide release October 2nd.
Awesome. You anticipated my next question. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, Will, how about you?
All right, so the movie that I want to talk about, I'll front load the date just so I don't forget about it later on, hits wide release on November 25th. And it's a film called Creed. So this is a sequel of sorts to the Rocky franchise, only this time instead of Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone being the young up-and-comer who is being trained in the world of boxing. Now he is the coach, and he is training and mentoring Adonis Creed, played by actor Michael B. Jordan, and of course Adonis Creed is the son of his former rival / friend Apollo Creed. I'm really excited about this one for a few reasons. First of all, I get burned out on trailers really quick. There's some people that can watch trailer after trailer after trailer, like, oh man, I'm on the 4th version of this trailer. I can't wait to see all the new secrets that get unlocked. For me, I start to check out of movies the more I see the trailer. This is one. The trailer for Creed, I've only seen the one trailer, and it comes up fairly frequently in front of the films that I've watched, and I enjoy it every single time. I haven't gotten burnt out by it yet, so that's already a good sign for me. Two other things that really have me interested here. Michael B. Jordan is a fantastic, young, talented actor. I have a sour taste in my mouth from
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, and everyone's got that sour taste in their mouth. That is a black eye for like not only the franchise, but for all of the people involved in it. And I think that it's fortunate that he has a film right on the heels of it. Kate Mara does as well. That lets him kind of distance himself from the stink of Fantastic Four and say, hey guys, remember how I'm a really good actor? Yeah, that was just another thing I did, but see, this is the film where I'm a good actor. Looks great in it so far. The other thing that really has me excited is the director. This is the second film by Ryan Coogler.
Fruitvale, right?
Yeah, his first feature was Fruitvale Station, also starring Michael B. Jordan. One of my favorite films of 2013. I think the two, Coogler and Michael, had a fantastic set of synergy between director and actor, and I hope we get to see more of that here. Very much anticipating this one. Like I said, wide release November 25th. How are you guys feeling on this one?
Yeah, well, I want to see this one. I know Fruitvale had a very cinema verite kind of style where the camera just kind of follows the characters around. There really doesn't seem to be a lot of acting for the camera and scene setups and stuff like that. Almost kind of in between a narrative and a documentary kind of style. Right. This one doesn't look quite like that, so I'm interested to see what Ryan Coogler can do with kind of a different style. My only reservation about this movie is the whole, kind of ringing up the dredging up the whole, Sylvester Stallone as Rocky coming back, into the picture, and that whole, kind of reliance on that nostalgia. I just hope it doesn't turn too kitschy, I guess, in this movie. It doesn't look like it from the trailer. The trailer gives me a good sense that the tone is going to be kind of where it needs to be. And again, a lot is going to fall on Michael B. Jordan, who, from what we've seen so far, I think he's going to be fantastic. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see this one for sure.
I don't know about this
Boxing movies.
I don't know. It looks like it could be good. I loved Rocky. I loved Rocky 2. Rocky 3 and 4 not as much, but I don't know. I guess I have the same fear. Like, it's sort of like the resurgence of, like we're getting the Terminator and fucking Rocky both coming back in the same year. And I'm like, really? Really, is there a need for that? Like, really? But maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be good. I do like Michael B. Jordan a lot. Fantastic Four aside. Thought he was phenomenal in Fruitvale Station. Great director. So, I mean, we'll see how things go. But I wouldn't say I'm excited to see this one. I'll see it when it comes out, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling, I guess, the same sense of...
Listen, don't knock Terminator Genesis. Don't knock Terminator Genesis. I just read that it broke its worldwide some kind of record for its box office take, especially overseas.
Yeah, apparently it did gangbusters in China.
It just passed like Mad Max Fury Road for box office take. So for some reason over there in China, they love their Terminator Genesis, and maybe their Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't know, but yeah, Brad, I know what you're saying, and that's kind of my fear. I saw the trailer. It didn't look hokey though. You know what I mean? It didn't look too hokey. I just hope. Here's what I hope doesn't happen when Stallone comes into the picture. I just hope he's not going to make these kind of in-jokes. You know what I mean? That those wink, wink, nod, nod kind of lines that are going to be like throwbacks. And I hate that in any kind of movie. But in this kind of movie, it can really kind of wreck the tone a little bit.
With any type of sequel or reimagining, remake, I think, I'm naturally usually pretty critical of them or not as excited, because I love original properties. What I liked about this from the trailer, from what we've seen so far, is I think if you're going to come back to this world, they could have very easily made a movie that was like Sylvester Stallone getting back in the ring again, like, kind of grudge match style, or what have you. And I think this one instead, there's something that speaks to me, and maybe it's just the type of person I am, about the passing of the torch stories. You know, like I had this story before, now this story is yours. Now, and of course they could totally fuck it up by like Sylvester Stallone comes in and the narrative focus shifts entirely to him. And I hope it doesn't. I hope that he remains sort of the supporting lead to the Michael B. Jordan story.
A passing of the Human Torch, if you will.
We're just gonna pass that one over. Yeah.
Remember that for when we review this movie, because we're going to use that.
Oh, we're gonna call back to that joke.
Yeah, we are.
Oh my gosh. Let's
Beyonce cow. What is it? Beyonce cow.
No, I changed it. It's no longer Beyonce cow.
It's Ghidra.
It's King Ghidra. I got all kinds of cool ones.
Nice.
I think we should do a lot of that. We should just like look at the films we're going to be reviewing and just kind of pre-write our jokes for them. Just like, oh man, come on, Christmas. What's coming out? What can we make some jokes about? We got Hateful Eight coming out. Come on, let's mine the Tarantino well. You know.
This is my Godzilla, not affirmative. Oh goodness, guys! Goodness.
You're having too much fun.
I am having fun. I always have fun with you.
Just give us the next movie already, will you?
All right, fine. Jesus.
Do it.
Criminy. So, guys, my next film comes out in December.
I don't know if we've heard of this one. Have we heard of this one?
Little film I don't think a lot of people have heard about, actually. It's also a coming-of-age story. I think it partially takes place...
It's a passing of the torch, maybe, too?
Yeah, kind of like a laser torch kind of thing, I think. Kind of takes place on this like deserty kind of wasteland kind of thing. It's got like these weird hinky like robotic things going on. It's kind of weird, guys. There's like a metal hand and
Ex Machina?
No. I mean,
Ex Machina too?
It has Donald Gleason, so I could see where you might get confused. But no, I'm talking about Star Wars: The Force Fucking Awakens.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah.
I think I did hear about that.
I haven't seen a lot of marketing for that one, so thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't think they really want the word out about this movie. I think they're worried that maybe, it might do too much business or something. That's probably why you don't see the trailer attached to everything that freaking moves. I don't know. But no, I'm just kidding. Yes, I'm super, super stoked for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I know that there is a new trailer / whatever the hell you call it with John Boyega out there. I've seen it posted all over the internet. And guys, you should be proud of me. To this day, I have resisted watching it. As much as my Star Wars heart wants to see it, don't do it. That's my Nedry from Jurassic Park impression. I haven't watched it yet. All I've seen is the trailer that's out in theatrical release right now. I hope that we're not going to get another trailer, but my heart tells me we will. We're going to get another theatrical trailer before this movie comes out. I almost want to stop seeing movies now until it's out because I don't know. I don't want to see it anymore. Because it's like I feel like the
trailers. You're
trailers.
You'll see a trailer. I got you.
Right. That's why I love to see movies, but I'm afraid of.
So when it comes on, you just put your head down, put your head, and go la 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 la. And sing "Let It Go" to yourself like the whole time.
Let it go. Yeah, I could. But anyway, so this movie, I'm excited about the cast. There's a lot of returning talent. Right, we've got Harrison Ford as Han Solo.
We should talk about who's not in this movie as opposed to.
I know. At this point, right? This point, obviously we've got Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, Carrie Fisher as Leia. We've got Peter Mayhew, who's returning as Chewbacca. I've met Peter Mayhew, by the way. He's an amazing guy. Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones, Brianna fucking Tarth, Adam Driver, John Boyega, Oscar motherfucking Isaac, Donald Gleason, Lupita Nyong'o, Andy Serkis, Anthony Daniels, oh my gosh, Kenny Baker, the original R2-D2 and C-3PO. There's just so many great actors coming back to this movie, and I won't lie, I've got some fears. I've got some fears that this thing is going to be like
a parade of stars.
Yeah, absolutely. I just hope right? That there's some weight and some gravitas to what they're doing. I know they're setting up this whole like 3-movie arc, so I'm guessing we're going to see little snippets of some characters and more of them as the movies go. But I've got some faith. I've got some faith in Abrams. He did some wonderful stuff with the Star Trek universe. Seems kind of weird that he also gets to helm the Star Wars universe, at least at first. But I think we're going to see some good stuff. In the material that I've seen so far, I'm loving the reliance on practical effects again and actual sets, actual locations, as opposed to computer-inserted backgrounds. I really feel like this movie is kind of getting us back to some of the stuff that made the original trilogy kind of special, and maybe a little bit hokey too, if that makes sense. It may not, but
so that scene we see in the trailer of the giant battleship like nosed into the desert, that was totally like a built set.
Oh yeah, they totally constructed that thing. Yep, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, when you see characters walking around, okay.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Being obstinate to be obstinate. But you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm excited. I hope it's going to be good. I'll be standing in line for it. I'm already taking the night before off work. So
you may have to take the month off before.
I know. But what about you guys? We've never talked about this movie before at all.
Well, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm still excited about it. I don't do a lot of trailers, and so there was the one trailer that came out that I guess kind of the main trailer. I guess it was the second trailer that came out, and the one that at the end we've got Han and Chewie saying that that really hard.
I guess we're home now. Whatever.
Yeah, and so past that, and there was like a little like a featurette that they did at Comic-Con where it's like it showed just how many practical effects I've not seen anything else for this. I've avoided all of the other trailers. I haven't read any of the pieces, so like I don't know what John Boyega plays. Everyone else knows the character names. But all I know is kind of what we've seen in those main trailers, and I prefer it that way. One, because I don't want to know too much going into it, and two, I don't know. I think there is a such thing as, I guess, kind of over pumping yourself for a movie, and I'm pretty good at like keeping my expectations out of like my reviews. I'm able to kind of say, okay, this is what Will's brain thought versus like this is what my analytical critical mind think. But at the same time, I don't want to spoil the experience for myself. I don't want to go into it like going like, okay, now I can't wait for the part where this character shows up, or like where's so and so. Like I just want to experience this. So fortunately, like any of the other trailers or whatever, I guess they haven't been shoved in my face. I'm not seeing them on television yet, or like I've seen a couple things shared that I'm able to just kind of keep scrolling past or whatever. But it is going to be a pain in the ass come like November, December, as we're getting a little bit closer to the release. I think it's going to be a lot harder to avoid those things.
Indeed. Well, Christmas is coming, which means Star Wars will be here 2 weeks before. Jim, what's your next movie?
My next movie is one that I'm super, super excited about, and I know maybe a lot of people don't have this on their radar, and that's The Good Dinosaur. It's going to be the second Disney Pixar animated movie that we'll get this year, because this movie was slated for last year, and it got a lot of scrutiny and sideways glances because this movie project was delayed like over a year from its release date. I guess they had some story problems, and they decided to basically like scrap a lot of it and rewrite the whole story, put a new director on it, so this year we get 2 Pixar movies. Of course, we get this one and Inside Out. So I was watching the news from D23 when I saw more about this movie. A full trailer came out. It got me super excited. I was very emotional watching this, and this trailer kind of struck a chord with me. It's a Pixar movie, and they're designed to do that, right? We know that we get emotional during Pixar movies typically. It's the setting of this movie is a world where basically if the dinosaurs has not gone extinct, we've all seen that trailer with the asteroid, the meteor misses the Earth and the dinosaurs look up and say, whatever, and then they go on to their thing. So if they had not gone extinct 165 million years ago and managed to still be around when early man was emerging, that's kind of the background of this movie. It's not the story of the movie, it just makes the setting possible in a fantasy kind of way. It's basically a boy and his dog story flipped around on its head a couple of different ways. And I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen the trailer or doesn't really know much about the story, but believe me, it just sounds really interesting the way they're going to do it. It's going to be, what has me excited also is kind of the simple nature of the story. The dinosaur and this little kid kind of helping each other out. Think of like the early scenes of How to Train Your Dragon when Hiccup meets Toothless, how a lot of it was hardly any dialogue at all, but they were able to tell a very compelling story. I think that's what's going to be this movie's going to be a lot of that. I don't know. I just think between this one and Inside Out, we very well could have two Pixar movies battling it out for Best Animated Feature this year. And that particularly doesn't have me excited because one of them has to lose out, and that's too bad. But I am just super, super excited for this story to see how it goes. Some of the animation I've seen, especially in the nature scenes, the dinosaurs themselves look a little bit more cartoony, but the animated stuff, like the backgrounds and the world that they inhabit, looks amazingly realistic for an animated movie. I'm just super excited. Do you guys know anything about this one?
Seen the I guess the first thing that was released for it. I don't know if there's been multiple things released for it. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, Pixar. You make a Pixar movie unless it's like a Cars sequel. Yeah, unless it's a Cars sequel, I will probably be at a Pixar movie. They by and large they have a really high batting average for me. They tend to hit all of my both like squee buttons and my awe buttons. So yeah, I'm anticipating this one. I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. I hope it is at least. I feel like with Inside Out being as solid as it was, I kind of feel like this is shaping up to be a good year for them. And I like to see that. I want to see more of these. I don't want to see them do nothing but go back to the well of their existing properties. Like I am excited for Toy Story 4. I'm excited for all of that, but I love that we're this year we've got Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur. We're getting fresh new things. So yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah, I'm all about fresh new things, especially if I get the bad taste of I just want my freedom out of my mouth. Brave. Looking at you. Inside Out was fantastic. By and large, Pixar movies, I'm totally on board too. I'm right there with you. I don't know a lot about this movie, and that's a good thing. I think going into Inside Out, I was like, oh, it has a bear joke in the trailer and a Boston song. The movie's probably going to be shitty, but at least there's that, and that'll be fun. And it turned out probably being like one of my favorite movies of this year so far, right? So I'm interested to see what happens with this one. We got Jurassic World for big, scary, rawr dinosaurs, so maybe we'll get this one for like big, fluffy, heartfelt dinosaurs. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. When does it come out again? Remind me.
Thanksgiving.
Woo!
Same day as Creed.
I'm not cooking this year. I'm standing in line for this.
Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? You decide?
We'll get a turkey sandwich.
They'll have those in the concession line, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Will, what's your last one?
So my last one is one of the films that I've been most looking forward to, not just for this part of the season, but for the year in general, and it's The Revenant. This is the new movie from director Alejandro Inarritu, the guy that brought us Birdman last year. It stars, check out this cast, guys, Tom Hardy, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Domhnall Gleeson. Man, he's in everything this year, isn't he?
Isn't he? Isn't he?
Dude, this dude cannot stop acting. Good for him. Yeah, that's a killer cast from a killer director. This could be, because of the timing, hits limited release December 25th and wide release in January. So
Yeah,
I'm technically cheating, but I'm counting it because of the,
Right.
it'll be available for this year's award seasons. I'd be interested in seeing how things shake out between Hardy and DiCaprio for nominations. Someone's probably getting nominated from this movie. They're both the type of guys who I think are in that caliber that we'll see them in the discussion. Mm-hmm. Maybe this will be the year that DiCaprio finally shakes his curse and gets an actual win. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'm also excited. One of my absolute favorite cinematographers is handling this film. That's Emmanuel Lubezki. This is the dude that did Birdman with Inarritu. He also did Gravity the year before, and 2006 is Children of Men. The dude knows how to frame a shot. The dude knows how to put together an interesting visual. Also exciting about this one, and we'll see how it plays out. This film's gimmick, so to speak, is that Lubezki is not using any artificial light. He's only using natural light for shooting the shots, which has made production run a little longer than it normally would, because if you have an overcast day or just something going on, it affects production. But I'm interested in seeing how that works out. Lots of good things going on here. A gimmick that doesn't look like it's the type that can derail a movie. A director I love. A cinematographer I love. 3 actors that I absolutely love. Man, there's a lot to love here. I just hope it pans out. I hope this isn't one of those things where like all of the right ingredients are in place and it's still like just doesn't turn out right. Maybe it's overcooked. Maybe people are bringing too much baggage from their other projects. It could totally happen, but man, I really want to see The Revenant.
Yeah, this one I've seen the trailer for. I love the trailer. It's got some cool things in it. It seems like a typical kind of like I'll say Western, but it may not be Western, but it may be like it has a Western feel to it, like a guy whose family was killed and he's on some kind of revenge journey, I guess. That's what it feels like. I'm not exactly sure of the story. Yeah, that's not a spoiler because I don't know.
The box description is Leonardo DiCaprio's character. This is like the 1820s. He's a frontiersman, and he's on a path of vengeance against those who left him for dead after a bear mauling. Yeah. So that's the IMDb. That's that's the quick and dirty. The
only problem with this is I'm going to mix it up with the Quentin Tarantino movie that's coming out.
Which is yo.
Yeah. Also true. And the same day too.
Oh, wow. Because if the movies have, I don't know if they'll have the same tone, but if you look at the trailers, they look like they were shot on the same set almost. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. But yeah, this one looks really good. It's getting a lot of buzz. Of course, Inarritu won big last year with Birdman. And this looks like a totally different kind of movie for him, which is cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know nothing about this movie. I don't even think I've seen the trailer. So, but it sounds good.
Watch it.
Sounds good. I'm one of those guys, unless it's like, I don't know. I typically don't watch trailers unless they're in front of movies. I just don't go out of my way to watch trailers. Part of me just really likes seeing trailers like in the movie theater, but I know I'm robbing myself of like anticipation of good movies coming out.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, you talked about the trailers for Star Wars movies. We've all seen the first trailer. Right. And I think it sounds like we're all kind of on the same page. I really don't want to see any more about this movie until I watch the movie.
Right.
And there are some websites that I go to just to read about movie news, and there's one in particular, and I'll keep the names quiet, that it seems like every day in their lineup of stories they have 3 or 4 like Star Wars related movies, like, oh, we just learned who, 2 more villain names of the characters, and listen to what the sound of this little robot sounds like in the trailer, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, I really don't. I know there are people who eat that stuff up. We have friends, Felipe. I'm looking at you. that will, eat up every single detail they can until the movie. For me, this is the kind of movie I think I want to preserve my experience for. For the for actually sitting in front of the screen that night when we get to see it, whenever we get to see it. I'm just a little bit afraid of the crowds, but yeah. But yeah, we'll get to see it, and I'm excited. But yeah, I mean, I try to watch trailers sometimes when I can. When I see something that looks kind of interesting, like Leonardo DiCaprio's next movie, boom, I'll throw it up and watch it.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, good stuff, guys. We've got some great stuff coming down the pipeline. Lightning round, just real quick, guys. Just a couple more. Maybe you're looking forward to. Don't need to go into any kind of detail. Just pop them out. For me, The Martian. Looking forward to that. Also, Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2. What about you guys? What do you think?
I have one called Room, just not The Room, but Room, with Brie Larson. The other Jennifer Lawrence movie that's coming out this year called Joy looks really good. Another Domhnall Gleeson movie actually called Brooklyn. Yeah, that looks good. We saw a trailer for 99 Homes this weekend. Brad, I think you saw that with me with Michael Shannon and Andrew Garfield. That looks kind of good. Cesario from Denis Villeneuve, Prisoners guy, and Black Mass. Those are the ones that I think look pretty good and could have made my list of most anticipated, but I could only choose two. And besides Good Dinosaur, I could only pick one.
Yeah, I've got to say definitely Cesario or Sicario. I'm not sure on the pronunciation. Yeah. The new Denis Villeneuve movie. Absolutely loved Enemy. Absolutely loved Prisoners. There's a movie called Captive that's coming out starring Kate Mara and David Oyelowo. I always butcher his name.
Oh, Yellow-O?
Yellow-O. Yeah, him. That looks like it could be pretty interesting. Hateful Eight, the new Tarantino movie. Not 100% a Tarantino guy all the time. I think I did not enjoy Django as much as other people did, but this one looks like it could be interesting. And then Green Inferno, the Eli Roth horror film coming out that's been kind of on hold for a while. Cannibals, man. Yeah, and I'm all about it. Like, I love that shit. So those are just a few, but yeah, Joy in Brooklyn, Jim, you mentioned those. Those are also on my radar.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow, man, I'm getting excited for September to be over.
A lot of great stuff coming. It's funny. We apportioned like half an hour to talk about our most anticipated films. The show's almost over. At this point, we've been talking for about an hour.
We started late.
We still have a movie to review.
Yeah, let's do that.
I think we should probably get into an abbreviated review. I know you got to fly out of here at like 6 o'clock in the morning, Jim. So we'll still get our review in. What do you say? Are you guys ready to do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Our discussion of No Escape. Did you hear that boom of thunder? That was awesome.
I did not hear that.
You didn't. You're like in the other room. How could you not hear that? That was amazing.
Wait. Is this like a setup? Like, are we gonna edit something in post? Like, should I be that thunder that I just heard was really good, Brad?
Thanks, Brad. Now I gotta do it.
Totally natural and organic.
Totally, just like my desk shook and everything.
What?
It was awesome. Yeah.
Man,
how did you not feel that? I don't know. Weird. Anyway, No Escape. No Escape, guys. We're going to follow our normal policy of giving you some very quick and dirty advice. Do we think you should see it in theaters? Skip it, wait for rental, what have you. No spoilers. We'll give you a fair warning before we go to Spoiler Town. Jim, give us a setup and your initial thoughts.
Yes, No Escape. So this is a movie about a young American family that moves overseas to an, I think, unnamed Indonesian country to pursue the husband/father's career, and they soon find themselves caught in the middle of a violent and chaotic coup against the government. They are then forced to frantically look for a safe escape, of which no escape, in an environment where all foreigners are being immediately and violently executed. This one stars Owen Wilson, who I'm giving him credit for doing something out of his usual wheelhouse, I'll say, in this movie. Lake Bell from In a World, and Pierce Brosnan, who we've talked about earlier, the ex-James Bond actor. So, guys, this movie went into it really not knowing what to expect at all. We had a choice to pick between this movie and We Are Your Friends. We decided to go for this movie mostly because, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't feeling EDM at the moment. But I started off kind of digging this movie. Like at the beginning, I'm like, wow, this movie really knows how to set up some tension. They're putting these people in some believable circumstances, and they're believably dealing with it. And I like the way the acting was going. And then about somewhere between a third and halfway through this movie, it just started to go south on me. And I ended up mostly disappointed with this movie because I thought the premise was really kind of good, and I was really bought in, and it lost me, and we can probably go into that a little bit more about how that may have happened. But it got very predictable, and just not all the things it did right at the beginning of the movie, it just started doing the total opposite of those as the movie went along. So I'm just gonna say that no, I can't recommend this movie. As strong as a start as it had, I just think its ending was not just the ending, but the whole second half was just off enough for me to say that I would not recommend it.
Ah, all right. How about you, Will?
It's all right. It's all right. I don't feel very strongly about this movie one way or the other. It's probably going to be one of those movies that when I mention this from time to time, like I think I would rather see just like a movie that tries really hard and just fucks up left and right than a movie like this that like I won't remember in a week or two, because this is very forgettable in a lot of ways. Some of the tension is really good. You know, when this movie is at its best, it's tense, it's taut. You know, you're wondering like, is this family going to get out of this or not? And that's good. There are some moments where it's very predictable, or where it feels very for a movie that feels very grounded, or at least tries to be grounded. There's some stuff that feels like, come on, man, really? They wouldn't have gone through that, or like, you really expect me to believe this? Mm-hmm. Owen Wilson was all right in this. Pierce Brosnan was all right in this. I thought Lake Bell was actually quite good. I thought that maybe she was even a little underutilized, but I thought that she was probably performance-wise one of the best things. There's a pair of kid actors who I think I don't know whether it's not. It's probably unfair to say that the kid actors were bad, but I think the material they were given was. Sometimes you get these movies or video. It happens a lot in video games too, where you have a kid character that is its only job is to be an anchor for the protagonist, or a thing that they have to get from point A to point B safely. Protect the football, don't get tackled, and that's what the kids are in this. They offer nothing to the story other than like something to slow Owen Wilson down, or to make him like turn back and pick something up. So that was a little frustrating. I also had a problem with the beginning of this movie. They do something where they try to go for kind of an artsy effect, where they have something happening in the background and then something will be happening in the foreground, and it'll switch focus between one and the other. And you see that in movies a lot. Changing focus is a legitimate technique. There's nothing wrong with that. But what there is a problem with is, I don't know if the guy operating the camera during those sequences just couldn't get it right, but there would be moments where it would like change focus, and then it would kind of go in and out of blur just a little bit as it figured out what it was trying to focus on, and it was very distracting, and it actually gave me a headache during parts of the movie, just because it was just like, come on, man, keep your face crisp, stop getting blurry. And once the action scenes picked up, that went away, or at least it wasn't noticeable because there was other things. But there's a lot of still moments early on where I think they shot themselves in the foot, and they robbed what could be some interesting dramatic moments with not fantastic camera work. There's some other elements we'll talk about in spoilers. There are two really poor decisions this movie makes that actually kind of pissed me off, but I can't talk about them now. So, should you go see this? There's not a lot out right now, so I think the only reason I would say maybe to that to answer that question is because we're in kind of a weird lull period. But there's probably stuff that you missed, other stuff that that's still out in theaters from previous weeks that is far superior. I'd probably recommend that instead, and maybe, just maybe, this would be like a rental, maybe a Redbox or whatever. I'm not going to be upset with you if you do see it, but I'm not going to recommend that you rush out and do so. So, middle of the ground.
All right. All right. It's interesting you mentioned that about the camera wheel. I didn't notice that at all. I'm sure it was there. Maybe my eye just isn't discerning enough, but I didn't pick up on that. Sorry to hear that it gave you a headache. I guess for me, I'm in line with you, Jim. Probably the first third to half of this movie, I thought did a great job of kind of ratcheting up the tension. I was actually getting a bit of a Hotel Rwanda vibe out of it at first. And Hotel Rwanda is an incredibly fucking graphic, crazy, violent movie. Don Cheadle, I love it. It's one of my favorite films. That probably sounds weird to be talking about a super graphically violent movie like that. But I just felt like it was so good. And at first I'm like, man, this movie is kind of going down a similar track. But it's with Owen Wilson. Oh my God, I can't believe that. But then the movie totally goes off the rails about halfway through and just becomes your standard, take it on the run movie. So I'm not going to beat, the horse over and over and over and over again. I'd say this one is fairly passable. I don't know if you've seen everything else and you want something to check out. It could be interesting. If you don't see a lot of these kind of movies, maybe you'll like it more than we did. I don't know. I will say there's an odd, tonal shift that happens a couple of times during this movie where, bad shit is going down and all of a sudden, Owen Wilson and Pierce Brosnan are having, buddy comedy bro moments. And I'm just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Really? So that's kind of crazy. But, yeah, I think we're good with moving into spoilers. Are we down?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, so guys, we're moving into spoilers. Spoilers are officially fair game. If you continue to listen, you do so at your own. It's a long fucking day, man. I'm ready for bed. I think I'm still getting over this. You continue to do so at your own peril. So blah blah blah. Here we go. So let's talk about Pierce Brosnan a little bit. Did you guys think he was going to make it to the end of the movie, or did you pretty much call his death to the exact fucking moment it happened?
Oh, the exact moment. Not only from the beginning of the film where you kind of realize what type of role he's going to play later on, but there is a moment, we're in spoilers now, where he hands over this necklace and says, "This has kept me safe, and now it'll keep you safe." And it's just he passed away his movie magic talisman. He's going to die. It was there. He had a 0.000% chance of surviving from that moment on.
Mm-hmm. There was a moment in this movie where not the death of Pierce Brosnan, but the appearance of Pierce Brosnan. When the family is they're holed up in this little compound with the old man, and it looks like, oh my God, options are running out. And I turned to Brad. I'm like, here comes Pierce Brosnan. And no sooner did I get the last syllable whispered to him out of my mouth, then da-da-da-da, around the corner comes Pierce Brosnan shooting people with a gun, and I'm like, that's where the movie for me really kind of went off the rails. I mean, once, it's just, like I said, it's just disappointing. Will, I know you talked about the focusing, and I think the scene that I remember seeing that in wasn't even an action scene. It was just two characters talking. Yes. It was him and Pierce Brosnan in the bar.
Yes.
Before everything happened, and as the camera is behind Pierce Brosnan, focused on Owen Wilson, a couple of times he was not even in focus. It was just really weird. And I was thinking to myself, really, a major motion picture release, the primary actor is on the camera speaking lines, and you can't fucking get him in focus. That's a little inexcusable, because even with electronics, I thought that they could do something to fix that. But anyway, it kind of took me out of the movie for a minute, but again, that didn't ruin the movie for me. At least there were some other things they did with the camera early in the movie that I thought were really effective. There was the scene that's in the trailer where he throws the little girl off the roof.
The slow-mo, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, there were some like brutal scenes of violence in this movie, which was like really shocking. And I'm like, yeah, this movie's got it going on. And then they just kind of fall back into the same old tropes and traps, and I think not that they were badly done, but when a movie has that much promise and just kind of throws it all away, it does disappoint me a little bit.
The other thing that was problematic about that moment, and I'll agree with you, I think my favorite part of the movie was maybe the middle third, kind of like anywhere between shit starts to go bad up until Pierce Brosnan shows up and saves the day, like kind of that stretch, especially the stuff that happens in the hotel itself. I thought was quite compelling and quite tense, mostly. But when he shows up, first of all, I kept thinking, like, how the fuck did he know where they were? How the fuck did he know that, like, if he walked in and did this exact thing at this exact same time, it would draw the attention? Like, I don't think he could. It was just, it was movie magic. It was script magic. And you can get away with that in movies, certainly. Like, that's, we're as audiences expected to make these leaps. And whatever, But for a movie that really tried to ground itself in, like, real-world politics and, like, this is a thing that could totally happen to this real family, and here's also this kind of, like, socio-political message that goes along with it, for something like that, for us to then, like, go, also, here's a superhero action guy showing up and saving the day, it felt very disingenuous. Like, I didn't need the Pierce Brosnan character at all. I did not need him in this. And I felt that it really took away from, like, family versus terrible circumstance.
I think the movie tried to establish that he was there actually for them.
Yeah.
Because he was there on the plane with them at the beginning, gave them a ride to the hotel, and he was obviously hired by the government to watch over this company's employees who the government knew would be in danger, but they didn't know. But the movie did a poor job, I think, in setting that up. It did reveal that at some point in the movie, but it just I don't know, it just didn't work, I guess.
And why wasn't he there doing something sooner too? Like, you see him earlier saying get to the roof, like it would have been like get to the roof. And actually, you know what? Since I'm supposed to protect you, how about I come with you? That's I think they wanted it so that they did that so that we would be left in the dark, just like the family, and then we'd get a reveal a little bit later on. And I get why they did that as a narrative thing, but it also kind of, like, robs from, like, the effectiveness of that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also liked at the beginning, like, that sense of when Owen Wilson is on his little walkabout and stuff starts to go sideways. And it's like, oh my God, he's disoriented. He doesn't know where he is. I kind of like the way they conveyed that feeling of, being lost, and I thought it was really realistic. Like, they had him look up to find the hotel building.
Yeah.
And he could find his way back that way. Again, like I said, I thought the movie kind of had its shit together for a while, and then lost it. And of course, the very pat ending of them, yes, they made it to the finish line.
Yay!
Just in time before they started shooting.
You are in Vietnam waters. You are in Vietnam waters. Put down your weapons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
First things first, they would have fucking, like, blown away whoever was in that boat. They wouldn't have waited. They wouldn't have let them cross. Are you kidding me? Come on.
I'm sorry. It was Owen Wilson and Lake Bell. They would not have.
Well, I guess in a world where Lake Bell is the mom, that makes sense. But see what I did there? She was in the world.
You did the thing.
I did the thing. But so here's the other thing. So they're in the boat. They're floating down the water on the way into Vietnam, right? And we've seen these guys shooting at them from rooftops, like with fucking sniper rifles and shit, right? You're going to tell me they can't shoot at them from 10 feet away from the riverbank?
Yeah, I mean the people after them, like, they have a hard-on for this family. Like, like this one dude is, like, constantly hunting them down, which is
I know he keeps showing up.
But But yeah, I mean, I don't know why they didn't shoot them there. That felt weird. I mentioned before there were two things that pissed me off about this movie. One of them is in that scene right before Pierce Brosnan comes and saves the day. So we've seen this group this entire time. They've been killing. They've been pretty much killing people left and right without any hesitation or pause. You know, we've got some captives. Let's shoot them. There's some people over there. We're going to shoot them. Did we get some hostages? Great. We're going to shoot them. So everything has just been shoot, 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 kill, kill, kill. Makes total sense. Where they're cleansing, purging, and they're fighting back. Except for Lake Bell, we have a gratuitous attempted rape sequence that I thought had absolutely no business being in this movie. It was only there to establish just how repugnant this guy was, and how Owen Wilson's poor damsel, maybe not even damsel, but just the fact.
Give him more incentive, right?
Yeah, and to me it was just like you did really not need to have that fucking attempted rape sequence. I thought it was distasteful. Not saying that you can't. I mean, you can include and it's controversial. You can include rape as a theme in films because it's something that happens. It's it is just like anything. It's a part of our world, and you can explore it, but. This did not feel like it served any purpose other than to just try to make us dislike these guys even more. Guess what? We've been seeing them murder people left and right. We don't need any other reason to dislike these random rebels, which is part of the other thing.
We won't have the discussion of which is worse, like wanton joyful murder or rape, right? We won't get into that.
It's not, and it's not even a matter of which is worse.
Yeah.
I think it's more.
Well, the movie wanted to make you think that was worse.
Yeah, well, that's certainly the case, and I think that it didn't serve any purpose. It was just another thing.
Right.
Yeah. What did you guys think?
What was the other thing? What was the other thing?
The other thing is I felt like this movie. I've heard this movie called racist, and I get where that. Criticism is being levied. You get this a lot either in horror films or in especially a lot of 80s and early 90s action flicks where it becomes the one American against those barbaric foreigners in this other country. And I think we got to see maybe not as bad as some of those 80s action films would get with that, but I certainly the only real likable characters in this were your four main Americans, your rescue American, and even the other guy that comes to their aid. He's only there because he's Pierce Brosnan's friend, and he
Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers, yeah.
Kenny Rogers.
The only thing that we know about him, the only thing that we remember about this guy, the only thing that we know about him is that he likes this other American, like Kenny Rogers. So I really felt like this movie was one of those ones where it's international vibe, but you know what? Don't worry about all that other stuff. It's just scary foreign stuff. Let's focus on Owen Wilson. And that was problematic for me. I don't like it when a movie is uses a setting as a foreign setting only as an antagonist and doesn't really get to explore it, and make it vibrant as well. I don't know.
No.
Yeah, what's the word I'm looking for when it's really just black and white? In this movie, it was
they're stark.
Die something. I don't know. I can't think of the word. But anyway, yeah, it's the characters were either pure evil or they were likable good guys. I mean, that's all you had, right? Well, I mean, you had basically 6 characters in this movie that were likable.
Yeah.
And then the rest were all evil. There was no blurring of the line at all in this movie, and maybe that, I don't know if that could have been written into the movie or not. That might have been a different movie, but again, it sounds like we're just trashing on this movie. I think it's an okay movie, but I just can't. Unfortunately, I can't recommend it the way it ended.
Yeah, it's an okay movie that is severely hampered by these things that we've been harping on, because I think in this movie is a good movie. There is a good movie inside of this movie. It just didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't do enough of the things that worked.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that is true. Well, guys, let's move on to some plugs as we look ahead to wrapping up for the night. Will, what have you got this week?
So this is a movie that you can find on Hulu. It's an older film, but I'm in ramp up to film festival time right now. I'm doing the thing where I'm tracking down films from directors that I know I'm going to be seeing more of at the film festival, or who I've enjoyed from previous film festivals. And I've never gotten around to watching 2001 Suicide Club, a film by Cyan Sono. It's a great Japanese director that I enjoy quite a bit. And you know what? Suicide Club is really, really, really cool. The premise, a bunch of people start killing themselves. Like in the opening sequence, you have got these 54 high school girls who join hands and throw themselves in front of a subway train. It is graphic. It is one of the most disturbing and uncomfortable scenes you'll see in a movie. But then the movie goes to some interesting places from there. Certainly, it is a genre flick. It is a horror flick, so that's, it's not going to be for everyone. Also, it's a subtitled Japanese movie, so I know that's not going to be for everyone as well. But man, if your interests line up with mine, if you're okay with the dark, if you like these types of kind of cerebral films that just kind of get underneath your skin while also showing some gory stuff, man, Suicide Club is a good one. You should check it out.
Awesome.
A director that I have not had a chance to see yet, but I know that. What's the one? Tokyo something?
He did Tokyo Tribe last year. The year before that, one of my favorite genre films. Why Don't You Play in Hell? Like if you're a film nerd, like Why Don't You Play in Hell is almost like required viewing, because it's a love letter to film nerds while also being like an over the top Japanese action gore fest.
And I know that Tokyo Tribe made a lot of waves last year too, so
yeah,
wanted to catch up with that one. So who's next?
I am. I just want to give a quick shout out to Movie Bears Podcast TV. We are going to have a fun episode tomorrow relative to when we're recording on Monday night. So we'll be recording Tuesday of this week. So if you're watching live, tune in tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're listening in digital tape delay, MBP TV is probably already out on iTunes, or maybe the next day. Either way, we're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. I don't know if I know, Jim, you saw the first episode. We haven't seen the second one yet. Will, I don't know if you're following it at all. I'm not quite sure it's your style.
I'm going to tune into MBP TV to hear what you guys think. I don't like The Walking Dead, but there's a chance that maybe Fear the Walking Dead will be more my style. So I'm interested in hearing what you guys say before
you dive in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it should be a fun show. We're also going to be dishing up a little bit of Me TV, what we've been watching individually, because it's really hard to get 3 people who all watch different things on the same show week to week. Sometimes that's why we're a little bit sporadic, but should be fun. Check it out in iTunes, MBP TV. Jim, why don't you close this out?
Okay, I'm going to talk about a little documentary that I saw. I'm on a documentary kick lately. I saw a movie called Casting By, and it's on Netflix right now. And if you love movies and the history of films, and especially like how they come together as projects, this is a really good documentary. It's a story of this previously unsung casting director, probably back in the 60s and 70s. Her name was Marion Doherty, and she basically put a stamp on movies as far as the role of the casting director and what they do for movies. Picking that right, going through tons and tons of auditions, actors and actresses to find a person who's going to bring a character and a movie to life. And this movie talks about how some of those classic movies got made. I mean, we're talking movies like The Graduate and Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid with Robert Redford, and just on and on and on and on, and how this woman and a lot of her proteges, who, by the way, were all women at the time, came to become integral parts of the Hollywood movie business. It's called Casting By, and it's on Netflix right now. So if you got Netflix, check that one out. Very, very interesting. I know some friends of ours, I'm looking at you, Casey, who are kind of real, like, classic film buffs, would really, really dig this documentary. Also, I want to talk about a movie we saw called Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. from 1993. This kind of movie seems like, so the Godzilla movies as we go along and we're getting closer to the end, they kind of seem like a mixture of like Power Rangers and Pacific Rim. It's pretty awesome. The story, of course, is a bit cheesy and a little bit too self-important, but there's some great action. I think we got about 10 more movies to go before we get to the end, Brad, of these movies.
Wow, that's crazy that's all that's left.
Yeah.
What are you guys gonna do when you're done with your Godzilla? Do you have another series lined up?
I kind of do. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say we have a whole Bond box set to go through, so there's that.
The Bond box set. If we ever decide to do more kaiju movie, there's like a whole series of Gamera movies, which is another kaiju that kind of had his own little series of films. But there's just so much in the kaiju world, which brings me to my last thing. I had written a note into another podcast because there's a kaiju-related podcast called Kaiju Cast that I listen to. This guy named Kyle and his crew of people are super knowledgeable about everything to do with kaiju, down to like the toys they sell, and it's amazing. I'm getting quite an education on Godzilla and kaiju, with of course Godzilla being the king of kaiju. Anyway, they read my note on their podcast. They gave two shout outs to Movie Bears podcast, so I wanted to kind of return the favor. Any movie fans that are into kaiju movies at all, Godzilla movies, whatever, check out the Kaiju Cast on iTunes.
Awesome. And I heard that shout out. Jim played it for me. That was awesome. If you Kaiju Cast fans are tuning into the show as a result of hearing about us on the Kaiju Cast, welcome. Love the Kaiju Cast. Good stuff. And guys, I think that wraps us for this week. I think that about wraps us up. Guys, you can find many of our episodes in iTunes or Stitcher Radio. You can also find us at moviebearspodcast.com. Check out our back catalog that way. Guys, can you believe this was like episode 145? Episode 145?
145.
I can, because I saw that in the top of the agenda when we were putting it together.
I know. So we're going to have to do something special for episode 150. We've also got our 3-year anniversary coming up in December.
Whoa.
No Hobbit movie.
Enough. We'll just watch the next Hobbit movie, right?
Yeah, I think we're replacing them with Star Wars movies now, right?
I'm okay with that.
I think that falls on our anniversary week, so how cool is that? Right? I'm down. Anyway, well, guys, it's been a pleasure. Glad to be back. Have a good one. Take care. We'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.